Hi, welcome to this video. Today I'll be doing a real-time Stardew Valley run that will be testing a new different strategy of trying to make as much money in year one as possible. The kind of consensus mainstream way of doing that is to build as many quality sprinklers as possible from ore from the mines, and then rush as much hops as possible to convert into pale ale. I'm going to be trying a different strategy using rain totems, where I'll be rushing towards being able to build a rain totem and then hopefully utilizing the entire farm's plots of land to make as much produce as possible. We'll see. We'll see if it's viable or not, but I thought something interesting, and it's not immediately obvious whether it will be or whether it won't be. The first kind of obvious bottleneck for making this viable is actually getting to the foraging level to build rain totems, and that's level 9. And then the secondary bottlenecks are getting the ingredients to build the rain totem. So we need truffles, so we need to build picks, and we also need to be able to make truffle oil from the truffles, which actually requires level 8 farming as well. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so first things first, we need to create a character. There is a reason for some of these names. I mean, this is my tag, dating back to 2004, when I thought I was super cool, and I used to play Mario Kart DS online, and I also liked Metroid at the time, and my times were so great that I was like beating the clock. And then it's a pun on the Super Metroid sub-boss Crocmire. Really lame, but you know, I was very young at the time, so you'll have to forgive me for that. In real life I have long hair, so that's, I guess, why I picked this type of hairstyle. Kind of side-parted. Random shirt. I am white, so that's also why my skin is white. I guess I could kind of wild out and do something a bit more of living vicariously, but I don't, because I'm boring. I have brown hair, but let's see. There you go, that's fine. And green lace. Skip intro. Dog is my preferred. I have a cat, and we need the standard farm because we need as much land as possible. And okay, let's go. Let's hope we get something decent. Okay, first things first, we need to remap things, because I like having left and right click assigned to different buttons. And let's begin. So if you haven't actually played Stardew Valley before, it's a farm sim game. It's supposed to be in the vein of Harvest Moon and Animal Crossing type of life simulation. Not necessarily intended to kind of min-max farm strategies, but as with any well-crafted game, it allows you the option to do so without taking away that type of experience for casual people. So, a couple things to note. There are kind of 3 limitations, I would say, on min-maxing this game. You obviously have time in a day, so there's only so much you can do before you basically have to go to bed, or the game forces you to go to bed. You actually are forced to go to sleep at 2 AM, and you take your energy penalty if you do that. If you go to bed of your own volition, you don't get an energy penalty. If it's, I think it's at 1 AM, or midnight actually. Midnight you never get an energy penalty. Between 12 and 2 you get various energy penalties depending on other factors, like if it's early in the game it's more forgiving, whereas later on it's, I don't know, you get more tired, you too old for this crap, right? So yeah, the first penalty, the first type of limitation, I would say, is the actual time in the game time. The second limitation is obviously money, so if you don't have enough money to buy things, you obviously can't expand your growing crop empire. And then the third thing is actually energy. So certain actions have an energy cost associated with them. What I'm doing right now is actually just using the scythe to harvest weeds. That's actually no energy. And that's also one of the reasons why I'm doing this now. Because of the three, energy limitations are more relevant earlier on in the game when your energy total is lower and you are unskilled in everything that you do. So there are 5 different skills in the game. I will show you them quickly just on this page. Farming, mining, foraging, fishing, and combat. As you get more skilled in these, energy cost actions associated with them become less energy intensive, like you become more efficient essentially. Yeah, and also food is a mechanic in this game that certain foods give you energy if you consume them, you know, just like in real life, right? And that's also one of the reasons why energy becomes less of an issue later. But this is day 1. Energy is an issue, and also we have a little starting pool of 500, but gold is also an issue. Yeah, so we have the same amount of time as you will always have, but energy and money are an issue. So, obviously one of the strategies, well, my whole strategy is dependent on in-game time, right? I need to get as much money as possible by the end of year 1, so it's not a conventional speed run in the sense that it's just the real time that's important. It's actually trying to maximize how much money you make with the in-game time. So, day 1, I want to do as much as possible. Every day, really, I want to do as much as possible before I have to go to bed. And because I'm energy limited, I'm actually basically collecting weeds. You can sell weeds to Robin, who is the in-game carpenter. And also, you get seeds, these wild seeds. This is essentially a random, whatever season you're in, so spring, summer, or fall. If you plant a wild seed, you get a random crop of that season planted. So this is also, when you're money limited, this is a good way of kind of maximizing your yields for that day, especially on day 1. So I'm basically, and also this is the first video I've actually made on this channel, so I'm not extremely good at multitasking just yet, but I'm basically I have a couple of different time goals I'm trying to aim for. I'm starting on my farm because there are a lot of weeds on the farm, and then I'll be heading south to the forest, which has a couple more weeds, and also there's a chance for randomly foraging items on the ground, which you can also sell. So in the forest by 12:30 is kind of the first milestone I'm kind of heading for. Okay, we've got some dandelions, they're decent. There are a couple of different items you can get in spring to forage. I'd say dandelions are pretty useful because you can use them for energy, but they don't sell for that much. Horseradishes are the opposite, they sell for the most, but have a modest energy intake. Leeks have really decent energy, and they sell for a moderate amount. And then, what am I forgetting? Something gives you no energy, and it sells not particularly well, but you sell it anyway because it gives you no energy. We don't need to, but if we get to the carpenter to sell the weeds around 4 PM, which is a bit of a trek, we have to go through the town and then up north to the mountains, and then we should be okay. This is also, so each run is kind of luck dependent as well. Certain night events are randomized. You can, I'll show you later, the kind of south patch of the forest grows spring onions, which are free energy. and they respawn daily. Usually foraging items, there's like a cap of 5 foraging items in any single area, and it's kind of random whether they spawn, and it's not like day to day, but spring onions are the exception. Every day a new crop of spring onions are randomly generated, so if you check that every day, you don't kind of deplete it more quickly or anything. You can just check every day, and you may or may not get a bunch of spring onions, which is decent. So 260 weeds is pretty good, actually. Anywhere from 10 to 20 mixed seeds is the normal. 11 is a little bit low, but basically if this whole rain totem strategy is dependent on like plus or minus 3 seeds at the beginning, it's not particularly stable, I would say. Although, obviously, the better returns you have earlier on in the game, the more effect it will have later, just basic economics. But I don't think we're doing too badly, so we can sell everything. Wood is useful later, stone is useful later, but yeah, I guess 6 is not really an issue right now, so that's fine. And 4 PM at the carpenter, great. Doing pretty well so far, or pretty standardly at least, not terribly. We want to buy some seeds at the general store. That closes at 5 PM, and it's just down here, so we're doing alright for that. We can also sell, well, we have to now make a quick calculation. So yeah, daffodils are the ones that give you no energy, so we can sell them for free. Dandelions do give you energy. We haven't checked the spring onions yet, but we don't have a crazy amount of seeds, so I feel comfortable selling them too. Now we have to do, well, yeah, so now the kind of first real choice is presented to us. We can either buy parsnips or we can buy potatoes. Parsnips will mature day 5, which would be good when we go into the mines. So basically a lot of stuff now will affect things later, and I haven't really explained it yet because we haven't got that. But let's just say for now I'm going to buy one of each of these, and then we have parsnip seeds at home, and I'm actually going to invest into potatoes. This is basically so that I save time and energy on watering, and we're going to assume that our energy needs to be met with fishing, which I will explain on day 2. This is obviously one of the main junctures, so maybe parsnips will be better for this type of rain totem rushing strategy, but for now I think this is going to be fine. It does save time and energy, so that's the reason I did that. And we also need farming skill levels. Potatoes before we get to strawberries are the best per batch, but we also gold them. It's kind of a difficult calculation to make, right? So a potato is 2.5 times the price to buy as a parsnip, but it saves energy, and per plot you also get more back. So yeah, this may or may not be optimal. It's kind of just difficult to really know what the limitations are for the strategy right now. Is it, okay, I've been talking about this way too long. Is it the time and energy that you gain on days 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 that will be the limiting factor? Or is it the actual just pure money that you gain and possibly farming experience from parsnips? I don't know yet, but I feel like it might be time and energy on the next 5 days, so that's why I picked potatoes. Okay, so to actually plant the crop, you first need to hoe plain land. and then you plant the actual seed, and then you water it. If it's not watered, it won't grow. And another reason why I bought one of each spring crop is later on, there's a game mechanic called the community center where if you gather certain items and basically donate them to this community center, you get certain bonuses or items that you can use on your farm. And the spring crop bundle, if you give this community center one of each spring crop, rewards you with 20 speed grow, and speed grow actually modifies the time it takes to grow plants. And if we plant them day 1 and only day 1, they will be ready in time just before the spring festival, which is a milestone. Basically at this point it's just a milestone I want to hit, and I'll explain later as I actually approach that day when it becomes relevant. And now we're just going to water everything. We still actually have a decent amount of time, and because time is not limiting us right now, I'm also going to run into the forest and see what spring onions were available today. And then any excess energy I have, I will use to cut down trees. Wood is going to be a very valuable resource for building things later, so the more I can kind of get without interfering with the rest of the strategy, the better. Okay, 8:30, not so bad. So yeah, if I get spring onions and I have time, I will just cut down some wood in the forest. Eventually I want to clear my whole farm, but right now it's kind of a convenient place to get wood when I just have some downtime, like between crops, before 9 AM, before things open. So because I'm already out here, I'm going to just cut some trees down if I get any spring onions, which I didn't. So that's actually pretty unlucky. Yeah, okay. So that's not the best. Now I'm just down here and I have time. I was just double checking to see if I could see any other any other forageable items, and I was also kind of just in shock. It's been a while since I've seen no spring onions at all. So my energy is 18. That's not even enough to chop down a single tree, let alone remove the stump. So I just have a bunch of time, not any energy, so I'm just going to check the forest more thoroughly for any forageable items. One good thing is they actually have a different color palette against this kind of very dark backdrop, so they're easier to see. I don't see anything, so now I'm just going to go back. Like I said, as long as I'm in bed before 2 AM, there's no energy penalty. So I'm also going to check north of my farm for any forageable items. Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to check east first, because I actually did see a dandelion there earlier. A daffodil there earlier. At this point, if it's forageable, I'm going to pick it up. It's not that serious if it's a daffodil or a dandelion. Yeah, so this screen register actually has a high density of items usually, because it's a whole different screen. It's usually convenient to pick things up. There's a hidden dandelion. See, 2 per screen, so it's better than, or is as good as the forest was. And the forest is 4 or 5 times the size. Now I'm going to check north as well. And yeah, on the whole, I would probably rate this luck of day 1 at a 4 probably, it's quite unlucky to get no spring onions. And the number of wild seeds was about average. Weeds, a bit higher than average, but that's probably the least variable one, just because you're getting so many of them. Okay, I don't actually need money for tomorrow. I do need space though, which is going to be an issue, but oh well. And yeah, this is the TV. The luck is an in-game trait that changes from day to day, and it was in the range of the lowest range it could possibly be. So maybe that's why we didn't see spring onions. If I was super serious about this, I would probably reset right now. But I'm still kind of just checking for viability, so I'm not that worried. And also, it is what it is, right? Maybe tomorrow we'll have great luck, and that will be helpful when fishing. Maybe helpful when fishing. I actually don't know if luck affects fishing so much. It's neutral anyway. Okay. And then that's actually preset. So when it rains, you don't have to... Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so this is going to be the end of the first video. Just a quick explanation about weather. When it rains, you don't have to water your crops, very helpful. And also, certain fish are available that are not normally available in certain areas. The most relevant one to this one will be catfish in the river. They sell for a lot. They're also quite difficult to catch, so days 3 and any other rainy days, you'll get to see me hopefully not fail at the minigame. But yeah, that's it for the first video. Kind of an unlucky day 1, but also relatively standard. It's not going to wreck the whole run, it's just going to change some of the energy decisions I make for day 2. Alright, thanks for watching.